Justin Clark and Allie Mack on ESPN 580 Orlando.
And welcome to the program. It's another edition of Behind the Law right here on ESPN 580 Orlando. Attorney Justin Clark with you as we are every single Wednesday, weeknight at 8. I can't even keep up anymore because we keep getting bumped for all this March Madness.
It's crazy.
Typically 8 o'clock, right?
Yes.
But here in the next few days, it'll be 9 o'clock or something like that. That's what I heard. I don't know. Brianna, can you please fill us in on exactly when we're going to be on the air now? Because I don't even know.
We'll be on when we're on.
Okay. Beautiful. You could also follow. You could watch the show at at Behind the Law Radio, Facebook, Instagram. Shereem Kassam is here. You got me all nervous today, Shereem. You know, you're such a star.
No,
you got
don't
me,
start.
You got me all like messed up here. How are you? Thanks for being here, by the way.
Thank you for having me.
You got it. 321-282-1055. So Shereem is the comedian, speaker, podcast host, actress.
Yes.
What don't you do?
I don't make money.
Is that right?
I can tell you that.
But also when I was reading up on you today, I couldn't help but notice not only did you get a degree from Brown, then you also went to the Wharton School of Business. I mean, my goodness.
Oh, I'm surprised most Floridians don't know what that is.
Oh, of course we do. So then, I mean, I'm guessing here a little bit, but I would imagine at some point you got a day job, but then you had a passion for something more.
Yes, it was a passion for something more, and then it was like, how can I really piss off my parents?
Yeah, is that what?
Like, it was a double whammy kind of thing.
And did you succeed in that?
Oh, yeah,
what?
I've totally succeeded in pissing off my parents.
Oh, wow, good.
Not so much paying off my student debt.
Yeah, we can help with that, of course. 321-282-1055 if you're having any student loan issues. The beautiful Brianna is here as well. Hi, Brianna, how are you?
Doing awesome, Justin. How are you?
I'm doing well. So I know Allie Mack is not here today, unfortunately. I know she had to go to Tampa. Allie Mack, we're thinking about you. So I figured, since she's not here to do the news, maybe we should all three do the news together, right? When we have Shereem here, we have you here. So without further ado, Allie Mack is not here, but it's time to do the news.
If it's on the internet, she's talking about it. It's What's Going On with Allie Mack.
What's going on? What's going on?
What's going on today with Justin Clark, the beautiful Brianna, and Shereem Kassam? So, look, we all feel old today because you know who passed away? I mean, sort of like that teen heartthrob. But first of all, he looked a little older to me to be in high school during the 90210. Did you watch 90210?
I wasn't allowed to.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
it was against the rules of the TV watching
I gotcha.
people. Parental controls were hard.
So Luke Perry today died at the age of 52. Rest in peace, Luke. After a stroke, you know, you hear most people having a stroke these days, and the medical treatment's gotten a lot better for strokes, and it's almost rare you hear someone 52 actually passing away from that. But it made a lot of people feel older today. It really did, because he was sort of like at least in my generation, I mean, he was sort of the man, you know, and now he's dying already.
Yeah, and you wouldn't have thought he was 52.
No, absolutely
not. At all.
not.
Do you know if he had a drug problem?
I don't think so, but I mean, I hadn't really heard about that. Had you heard about any drug problem for him at all?
I have not, no.
Shereem, are you a sports fan at all? Or
I
you
am a
stay away?
sports fan.
Well, so big weekend in sports here in Central Florida. UCF had the biggest win in their in the history of their basketball program, I would say, beating number 8 Houston. So they're probably going to be in the NCAA tournament. Orlando City opened the season.
Yeah, they did. That was a good game.
Do you ever make it to any of these games?
Sometimes. It's hard to beat the traffic.
Yeah,
I won't lie. The traffic. If there was a way to just teleport me into the stadium, that'd be amazing.
Exact same way. And even I got to tell you, if you ask me on a Monday or Tuesday and say, Justin, Saturday we're gonna go down, we're gonna have a couple beers at the Church Street, then we're gonna watch the game, I'll be like, yes. But then when Saturday rolls around, I'm like, no.
People,
but
get there early.
I'm like that too. You could ask me on Saturday morning, but by the time the game starts, I'll be like,
really?
oh, I don't know. It's kind of my nap time now.
Yeah, exactly. You're right. What I found is anything you ask me to do that's more than about 5 or 6 days away, I will say yes to. But then I regret it very, very much. So Orlando City opened with a tie this weekend. The Magic beat the Pacers.
The Magic have been doing really well this season, huh?
Yeah, I mean,
like
better,
surprise.
I would say.
Yeah, but
better.
in comparison.
The Orlando Apollos also kept winning. I don't know if anyone out there really much cares, but that's the football team.
Yes, the new one, right after the Predators. It's kind of like it's a mix, though. It's outdoors, though, not indoors, right?
It's like real football, just with a few rule changes, I would say.
Okay.
So it was a big weekend in Central Florida sports. Also, it's always a big week here. I mean, really, in Central Florida, this is when the weather gets really nice, you know? When does this daylight savings time happen?
Is it coming soon?
It's coming really soon, isn't it?
Sunday the 10th, right?
Oh, is it? That's
Oh,
like this
wow.
Sunday.
That's this Sunday.
I can't wait.
I love it. That's the best time of the year, I think, because it's still not super hot here, yet it stays daylight longer, so it's a fantastic time of the year. And it also means the Arnold Palmer Invitational rolls through Orlando down at Bay Hill, except a big announcement today. Someone withdrew from the tournament. You want to guess who?
Who?
Guess.
Tiger Woods.
Yeah.
Did he really?
Yeah,
I was about to say, I was like, but no, he couldn't.
He had a neck strain or something like that.
Oh.
So Tiger will not be playing in the tournament, which changes everything, especially when it comes to viewership. I mean, the ratings just go way, way down in golf when Tiger's not playing. But
Does that other guy still play? The Indian guy, Vijay Singh? Was that his name?
Yeah, he still plays. Yeah, I think he's gotten a little bit older. I think he might even be qualified for the senior PGA Tour now. But he still plays. He's still good.
Yeah, I remember growing up, I used to go to the Bay Hill all the time and watch Tiger and Vijay play.
Yep. So get out there, enjoy it, sports. But any other news we need to address, ladies? Since Allie Mack is not here, anything you can think of that we really need to get out there?
Not really, no.
That's it.
I'm just going to be honest.
Well, that's what's going on.
I mean, there's one of those pop star ladies who not submitted herself, but she checked into rehab. I don't remember her name, though.
Who is that?
Oh, man. I don't know. She's got the computer. Google it. It was some girl who also makes us feel old.
It's like all of them.
Like, she was a hot mess, and I think she was on drugs and stuff, and she cleaned up.
Amanda Bynes.
Yeah.
But how many times? I mean, how many times has she checked in now? This is not her
Let's
first
be
time checking in. I mean, no
She's been
offense.
Well,
in
she
more
made the
than
news
out.
on the morning radio this morning,
wish-
so.
Low news cycle.
Yeah. We certainly wish you well, Amanda. And that is what's going on. Allie Mack will be back here with us tomorrow. 321-282-1055. It is Behind the Law here on ESPN 580 Orlando. Joined today by a very special guest, Shereem Kassam. She's an actress, comedian, speaker, podcast host. Tell me a little bit about the podcast, because I think we're still confused as the general public about the difference between a podcast and just regular radio. Tell me about your podcast.
Yeah, sure. So my podcast is once a week, and it's available anywhere you listen to streaming music. So Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcast. And it's because, so it's called Creative Breakthrough. And the idea behind it is to help anybody who has a creative passion kind of break through. How do they find their passion? How do they get to the next level at their passion? And I started it because as a comedian / actor / writer, there's just not a lot of people in the Florida or Orlando area that can really help you. Like, how do you get that mentorship and that network? And how do you kind of build yourself up to success unless you live in LA, right? And so the idea behind the podcast is interviewing successful creatives who've made it and then having them share their expertise and strategies and advice to help other creatives make it as well.
Where do you actually do your podcast from?
Something similar to this, much smaller, with clothes around me. So really my closet, because not all of us are making the big money.
I've been thinking recently, and actually when I saw you were coming in today, I wanted to read up on you a little bit, and I went to your website, but then it made me think, do we still even need websites? I mean, do people really still go to your website, or is everything on social media anymore?
Well, everything's on social media. The only reason I have the website is so that the podcast could link to a website so that people could find the podcast, basically.
And how do I follow you on social media?
Everything, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook is Funny Brown Girl. So Funny Brown Girl, or you can go to funnybrowngirl.com to hear the podcast or to find me as well.
So what do you think, Brianna? Brianna here is our marketing expert here at the firm, right? And I just wonder what percentage of new clients that we have come in via going to my website, or do they find us on social media? I mean, what do you think? Who would have ever thought we're in an age where websites aren't, I know they're still important, but they are losing their importance, it seems
You think
to
so
me.
that much? You
I don't know.
think
What
people...
do you think? I'm just thinking out loud here.
I mean, I still get people who leave comments on my webpage, and I get people who Google like speakers in Orlando or comedians in Orlando and find me that way. Because if you hashtag Orlando comedians, I don't know what you're gonna get.
Yeah. Trust me, I'm not about to take it down, but it just made me wonder the importance of the website anymore.
I think it just makes you more legit, first of all.
Exactly.
I think if you didn't have a website, I'd be like, ooh, who's this guy?
Right.
Or people that like you click on the website button from Google and it links you to a Facebook page.
Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that at all.
Some red flags.
Well, I think that we've all had a moment in time where we thought we were stand-up comedians, or we wanted to quit our day job and become stand-up comics. What is it really like going out on the road and being behind the curtain talking to other comedians? Let's find out that information all right on the other side of this break. It is Behind the Law, ESPN 580 Orlando.
So trivia today is all about podcasting.
Shocker.
Ah.
She always makes the trivia something that you're going to know about. And I won't.
Oh, I won't. Have you not heard me on the Monsters? I've never gotten a trivia question right, ever.
Today, we will overcome that. That's fine.
You have a good radio voice.
We haven't done the show in a few days either. I was all out of whack.
It's great. Yeah. He's like, he turns it on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he does, literally.
Have you ever wanted to do radio?
Kind of. I was a broadcasting major in college before law school, so it was always sort of in my blood. But
that natural progression from VJ to lawyer. It's a thing.
Yeah.
Have you always practiced law here in Florida, Orlando?
I started in Boston.
Oh, did you really? What part?
In
Downtown Boston?
Yeah.
Okay, I lived there too.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Where did you live?
I lived in downtown. Well, not downtown Crossing. I lived in the theater district.
Yeah,
So
of course.
on the front side was Chinatown. The back side was downtown Crossing.
Well, my law school was kind of right in the theater district.
Suffolk?
New England School.
Oh, New England. Okay, cool. Yeah, I used to
lived in
pass
Newark
it
then the whole time.
because I used to work in Faneuil Hall. So
Right.
I would just walk every day. So I kind of knew the area.
Have you been up there lately?
Yeah, I try to go back once a year to perform and see my friends and stuff.
Going up like crazy too.
Yeah, well, there's like high rises blowing up everywhere too.
I know.
I still own my condo there, so I'm like,
Oh, really?
yeah, I've been debating what to do with it because it needs to be renovated now because it's like kind of getting shabby
Right.
compared to everything else. But I don't want to sell it because I still have these dreams of going back. I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm gonna come back.
I tried to go once a year too. So we couldn't pretty much always do it.
Hey, Shereem. Peter Von Taborski says hi.
Oh yeah, tell him I said hello back. He did your show, right?
He did.
Couple months
It's
ago.
been a while.
Yeah.
I think he did yours in November, or December.
Okay.
I did his in December, and he was talking about you
Okay.
guys.
That's pretty cool. Another good speaking voice.
He's great. I love him. I need to figure out his secret because he does it full time.
I think he's, yeah.
And he hasn't been doing it that long. That's the
No.
other thing. Like,
And
he
I'm
just, like,
I'm like, where are you? How are you getting? Just tell me the secret.
the beer helps.
I just need money. How do I make
Maybe the drinking
How
helps.
do I make money from podcasting? Tell me.
I love it. I love it. You
This
ready
is
to go?
This is
Yeah,
what they
whenever
didn't
you
teach me at Warden.
Let's
Yeah,
do
they don't.
How do you make money doing non-business related activities?
it. So I want to, like, sit in my garage and drink beer and hang out. How do I get money from that?
Now back to Behind the Law with Justin Clark, right here on ESPN 580 Orlando.
Welcome back to the show. It is Behind the Law, ESPN 580 Orlando. Justin Clark here with you to my right. It's the beautiful Brianna to my left, and Allie Mack's seat. Special guest today, Shereem Kassam. Shereem, thanks for being here. How are you?
Thank you. I'm great. How are you guys?
We're great. Hey, this comedian thing to me is so intriguing, right? I mean, actually go from writing jokes, just being funny your whole life, and then actually getting up there on that stage for the first time. How does that feel?
Oh, it's better than skydiving is how I explain it. Have you ever been skydiving?
No.
Okay. Well,
Oh, no, absolutely.
then I actually sometimes, it's just amazing. It's like when you find your passion and you're actually sharing it with the world, there's this emotion that just comes over you, and it's just the most exciting feeling ever. I don't know how to describe it, but it's like an extension of yourself, like that you're sharing with other people.
Does it feel like, I mean, do you just feel like you're putting yourself all out there finally for once for everyone to see, and is it an emotional type experience or what?
Yeah, it's definitely emotional. It's a little mental, physical. I mean, it's exhausting because you are putting yourself out there. You're being genuine with an audience. You're telling them about your life. But the minute you get that first laugh, oh, the wave of like rush that comes over your body is just euphoric.
Right.
It's just the best feeling. I have not been able to do anything in my life that matches that same level of excitement.
And how did you start? Where did you first begin?
I actually started in Boston.
Oh.
Yeah, so I was at a comedy club. I'd never been to a comedy club in my life. I'd never seen stand-up. I'd never seen live comedy because this was before Netflix. This is how old I am. I'm like aging myself. And I went to a comedy show, and I just remember sitting there thinking, this is so cool. Like, I want to do this. And I also wanted my money back. So I went to the person who ran the club, and I was like, I want my money back. And he was like, why? And I was like, because they were boring. Like, I could do better than this. And he goes, have you done comedy before? And I was like, no, but it can't be that hard. I mean, how hard could this be, right? Like you stand on stage and you talk. And he was like, why don't you go learn how to do it and then come back and then do it and then I'll give you your money back. And so I went out and I learned how to do it and I came back, and ever since then I couldn't stop.
To this day, one of my favorite rooms in America is the Comedy Connection up at Faneuil Hall. You
Yes.
remember that place? That place
Yeah,
is
yeah.
so
It
awesome.
shut down though, right?
I think it did
Yeah.
shut down recently, but I used to have so much fun there. I used to, like Lewis Black, so many good guys I saw come through there.
Yeah, so I started at the Comedy Studio, which is
Where was that?
in Harvard Square.
Oh,
So do
okay,
you remember the
gotcha.
Hong Kong?
Yeah, oh
there was
yeah,
also
of
one in
course.
Faneuil Hall
Yep.
with the Scorpion Bowls. So
Do
upstairs.
I remember some of those nights. Yeah, of course.
So upstairs there was a comedy club, and it was funny because I used to go to the Hong Kong almost every weekend, but I never went upstairs to the comedy club.
Right.
And now I'm like, when I sit back and think about it, I'm like, I'm so stupid. I could have started comedy like much earlier in my career, but there's timing to everything,
Got
right?
it. So, do you have any like most memorable comedy experience? We've been at a club. Maybe you were next to someone really famous, or someone who was a mentor to you, or any real moment stand out in time for you?
Yeah, last year I opened for Arsenio Hall.
Oh wow,
That was probably the coolest. I was ready to retire. I was like, well, I've opened for Arsenio Hall. Like, I mean, I don't know how old you guys are, but I used to like sneak out of bed at night to watch him on TV, right?
Oh, yeah.
And like, he was like the idol. He was like that person that was like, oh my goodness, like, look at this guy. He's hilarious. And now all of a sudden I'm on stage with him. And he was the most humblest person like ever. Like, he got on stage with me. He made sure everyone clapped for me, and like he introduced me, and it was just awesome.
favorite cities to perform in thus far?
Boston, New York, and Toronto, actually.
Toronto's a great town.
Toronto's
huh? And a
amazing.
huge city too. People
Yeah.
don't understand. I mean, I understand that's where the cold weather comes from. So a lot of us don't want to go there.
But it's snowing up there right now, and
Yeah.
I don't feel anything outside. I mean, I got all dressed up because I thought since it was
I
snowing
know.
up north, it'd be cold outside. And then I walked out, and I was like, well, damn.
Yeah.
But I'm still gonna keep my jacket on.
Yeah, me too. I was going. If I didn't have to wear a suit today, I was going to wear a sweater anyway, just because Boston was getting snowfall this
Yeah,
morning.
I don't know why. I just felt like we should partake in the
Absolutely.
in the winter weathering.
I totally and fully.
I mean, I
agree.
wish we got snow days.
So, Shereem Kassam joins us here on Behind the Law. How many days of the year typically you find yourself traveling or performing anywhere?
Oh man, last year I was out of Orlando about 40 weekends out of 53.
Wow.
And then I was in traveling abroad, like I was in Europe and the Middle East for 2 months.
Have you ever done any of this cruise ship comedy?
No, and I don't want to.
Okay.
And it's because you have to do a super clean show, like it has to be children friendly.
I see.
And I don't know if I want to put those restrictions on myself.
How would you describe your comedy?
Not clean.
Basically the opposite of that.
Yeah, it would be so hard to be like talking about, what grown-ups do, but for children.
Yeah. So if I'm just tuning in now again, how do I follow you, Shereem, on social media and so I can check out some of your comedy?
Yeah, you go to funnybrowngirl.com and you can get it all there, or you can go on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook. It's Funny Brown Girl.
So you also do the podcast like we were talking about earlier. Who are some of the guests that maybe I've heard of, or just what are some of the guests that you've had on the show in the past?
So I had Maz Jobrani. He's a stand-up comedian, Iranian guy, Persian, really blowing up. Next week I have Shantae Wayans of the Wayans family, so Marlon Wayans' niece. I've had New York Times bestsellers. I've had directors from Queen Sugar, which is Oprah Winfrey's TV show from her network. Oh man, I had I don't know if you guys ever watched Outsourced back in the day on NBC, and now on Schitt's Creek. There's a guy, Rizwan Munji's been on the show. Man, I've had so many people. I don't know, like I've had eclectic people. I've had a drummer, an internationally touring drummer. She's a female Asian woman, so she drums. Comedians, writers. I'm trying to think who else. My goodness. Last week I had a creative entrepreneur who started his own shoe line. But like Tom's, but for Africa, so he gives back money to Africa. So just a diverse group of people who can teach you their strategies, how they won. Like, how did they succeed? How did they become famous? How did they make money? 'Cause I think that's really important
Absolutely,
for creatives, how to
yeah.
make money.
It totally is.
Like, I need to interview a podcaster and be like, how do I make money?
So after Brown, after Wharton, you said to your parents one day that you were really going, and I realized that you kept a day job and things like that, but when you really told them you were going to jump off this high dive here, how did they really respond?
Well, when my parents first found out that I was doing comedy, I didn't tell them that I was doing it, but someone sent them a clip of my work.
Even worse.
And yeah, and it wasn't the best clip that they could have shared. Like it was just like really bad. Because when you first start doing comedy, you're really dirty because that's the easiest comedy to do.
Right.
And it was the day before my birthday, and neither of my parents called me on my birthday to wish me happy birthday. That's how upset they were at me. Like my mom could not fathom, like she didn't understand what comedy was either. So she thought the way I explained it to her, like what she thought she saw and what I explained, she thought I was stripping. Okay. Like that's what she thought I was doing. And I was like, Mom, you watched the video. At what point did I take my clothes off? Like I didn't take my clothes off.
That's funny.
And so it was funny because then there was like this running joke. Anytime I left the house, she'd be like, your clothes need to be ironed. And I was like, no, what's the big deal? And she's like, oh, see, you are taking your clothes off. That's why you don't care. And I'm like, no, I just don't care. Like, I just don't care.
Oh, my God. Hey, the comedy scene in Orlando, how would you describe it?
It's really good. I would say it has the, it can be one of the top 5. It can be like a Boston or a New York or LA. We have the right people. We have the right rooms. It's just a smaller market. And I feel like comedy hasn't really picked up in Orlando for people to come out and watch us live yet. But once they realize that talent, I think once you come to a comedy show, you'll start coming back more and more because you'll realize how talented we are here in Orlando.
I think most of us know about the Improv down in the touristy
Point
area,
Orlando,
whatever. Which for me, again, if I have a helicopter from where I live in Lake Mary, it's easy to get to. It's no problem. What other rooms are out there that we don't know of?
Man, you can see comedy in Orlando every night of the week. So like Monday nights, you can go to the Other Bar at Wall Street in downtown Orlando. They have a free show. It's an open mic. Really great comics come out there. On Wednesdays, there's an open mic. Also at the Improv, though. On Fridays, there's a lot of like shows at breweries and stuff. There's a girl called Leslie Joe, and you should have her on your show. She has a podcast too about beer, and she does rooms all over the city, and they're at breweries and stuff, and they're just so much fun because people come out to drink on a Friday and just laugh, and it's a great time.
Any advice to a young comic who had similar thoughts to you? You knew that you were funny, you wanted to get out on stage. What is your advice to a young or new comic?
Keep practicing. I think a lot of people want to get famous quickly, and I think Instagram and social media made people think that's easy to do. And so people don't want to put in the work anymore. Like people are like, oh, I'm just going to go viral. And that's just, it's going to work for 1 out of 100 people, but I've been grinding at this for years and it hasn't happened yet. So like you have to just keep working at it.
Got it. Any favorite comics that you have nationally?
Dave Chappelle and Chris Rock are my favorites.
Oh, yeah.
Chris Rock, I just love it. He's so real. He's so genuine. Like he doesn't give a. I'm trying not to swear. So every time I pause like that and I'm like looking for words, I'm like.
We do the same thing all the time.
I'm like, what is a synonym for that word? I don't even know.
There isn't one. Just say it.
We don't even know what synonym is.
Aren't you guys FDA or not FDA? Aren't you guys? Don't you have to FCC?
Yeah. This is terrestrial radio, as they say. So
You get bleeped.
yeah, but we bleep a lot. Don't worry, it's fine. Don't stress.
Because he doesn't give a bleep about anything he says.
There it is.
We have plenty more ahead. We're gonna play Stump the Clarkie with Shereem Kassam. We're also going to spend another a full half hour, I think, right?
Yeah.
So if you have any interest in stand-up comedy, starting a podcast, or just want to find out more about Shereem, you're going to want to stick around. Another half hour ahead of Behind the Law on ESPN 580 Orlando.
Now back to Behind the Law with Justin Clark, right here on ESPN 580 Orlando.
Hot mics.
Welcome back to the show. Another half hour of Behind the Law, ESPN 580 Orlando. Justin Clark here with you. You can watch the show at Behind the Law Radio on Facebook, Instagram, and the social media platform. We're going to play Stump the Clarky in a minute, and you can play along with us if you would like. It'll be me versus Shereem Kassam. I guess, Brianna, you can't play, of course, because you're reading the questions, huh?
I cannot.
That's fine. That's fine. For some reason, I thought we had three. But don't we normally have three people playing? That's why I was thinking that?
Yeah.
Okay. Now I got it. So, Shereem, I'm sorry, but we have to play this. I promise you're going to beat me, because Brianna does the same thing to me every day. Whoever the guest is, she picks a topic that they're going to know about, so because she wants me to lose. I mean, it's funny, but she
Maybe
really
we came to Stump the Clarky.
she wants me to lose. So, without further ado, it's time to play Stump the Clarky.
All right, and now it's time for Stop the Clarky. Come on, Clarky. We need you to get over here. We got some great trivia questions we want you to answer. Come on, Clarky. Get over here.
All right, Brianna, are you ready? You ready to play this game?
Yeah, are you ready?
I don't think so, but we'll do our best. All right, question. So we're going to do 4 questions. You can play along with us. We'll write all 4 questions out, and we'll come back through, and we'll grade them. We'll see how badly you beat me.
Oh, so I have to keep this a secret from you?
Yeah, that's kind of how it works. I mean, if you
You're
want
an
me
attorney.
to...
I can tell you cheat.
Yeah, exactly. I've never heard that before. Do you have any attorney jokes that we need to get to, Shereem?
I like it.
Nothing that would be favorable for your audience.
No,
if you're trying to get
It's
business.
fine. We have nothing to hide here on the show. You can say whatever you want. All right, question number 1, Brianna, go ahead.
Well, first, can you tell me what today's topic's all about?
Well, I imagine it's podcasting, of course.
Oh, naturally.
Of course.
And
Oh
that's
my
the
goodness,
only
I don't
answer
know
you're probably going to get
anything
today.
about podcasting.
We're in for a treat. Question number 1. We all know that podcasting is popular, but let's see just how popular. As of February 2018, how many active podcasts are there?
multiple
Nationally,
choice?
yeah, we
Just
wish.
in total.
Okay, so
all of them.
like nationally, you think, or internationally?
No.
Okay,
All the podcasts, Justin. All of them.
I'm such a lawyer. Ask like all these questions about the question.
Each question, he'll ask, 4
No,
or
it's
5
important,
follow-up
though.
questions.
I would ask too, but at the end of the day, I'm like, it's not going to help me come up with a number. Like, it's really not.
Write one down.
Question number 2 for a Monday night edition of Behind the Law. Go ahead, Brianna.
Before it was called podcasting, it was called audio blogging. So what year did the first audio blog come out?
Girl,
Audio
I'm a danger.
blogging.
If I wanted to do this, I would have gone back to school.
Pick a number. Guess. It's just like school.
You should no, because there was multiple choice in school.
Guess they did away with that by the time I got to college.
Way to make me feel old.
They were like, guess, children. Guess.
All right, question number 3, Brianna, on Stump the Clarky. What is it?
As of 2018, how many people profess to be avid podcast fans? Meaning they listen to at least one podcast a day.
This is a number or percentage?
It's a number.
I've only seen the percentage. I'm just going to put the percentage. Well, I guess I can do the math really quickly. How many people are in America? 300 million?
Yeah.
Yeah, 300 total. That's it. Do math. That's fine.
Got it.
She only went to the Wharton School of Business, for crying out loud.
I know, but I need my Excel sheet to do this really correctly.
Is it? Can you do my profit and loss before you go to?
Hey, if you can give me free legal advice,
Yeah, you got
because
it.
I actually need an
Barter.
attorney on what's it called on when you just pay someone.
Criminal? Criminal defense?
No, like the ones that I just have in the back of my pocket and I can just call all the time.
On retainer.
Yes, that
yeah,
word.
You got it. So coming on this show, I'm
I obviously
officially
don't have vocabulary.
on retainer with you. It's Stump the Clarky, Behind the Law, ESPN 580 Orlando. It's me versus Shereem Kassam. Brianna, you've got question number 4?
She's funny.
She's like sitting here booking another interview while I'm on
No.
the show. She's like, Shireen's not funny. I'm booking another interview.
That is not
That
true.
is what she's
Get her
doing. I
off.
can see her.
She's rebooking you already. But Shireen said she's not coming back if she has to play this dumb trivia again.
I know. At least on the radio when I do this, it's like one question and then embarrassment's gone. This is like 4 questions and
Let
then
her
we have
win.
to go through each question.
This is going to be funny.
Yeah.
So question number 4. What is the projected podcast ad revenue for 2019?
Per podcast?
Um,
Or total, like, in
no,
the
it's
country?
total ad revenue. So that's the people who have linked their purchases to an ad that they've heard on a podcast. It's that number. What's it? Shareem's writing pretty fast. I think she knows it. I think she knows the exact number.
These stats, but like I didn't know I was supposed to memorize them.
She thought she was coming here to do a legal show.
I know.
I wrote them down.
She's like, behind the law.
I thought you were gonna give me advice on like how to get rid of my speeding tickets and the points on my license. And,
we used to do a show like that, but then we got bored.
How to like get the IRS off my ass because I haven't paid my taxes.
Now that we can talk about after the show for sure.
Supposedly you can't have 2 moving expenses in 1 year. I didn't know that.
She knows all the stats. Look at this.
All right, let's score this game, Brianna. Are you ready? Question number 1. What was it?
Question number 1. We know that podcasting is popular, but let's see how popular. As of February 2018, how many active podcasts are there?
All right, Shereem, what did you have for number 1?
I put 100,000.
And I'm way low. I know I am. I went with 2,500 because I didn't know if this was just like in the U.S. and it was a legit.
I think like 2,500 start a day at this point.
Podcast.
He doesn't know what a podcast is.
As soon as I still listen to regular radio most of the time, so I'm confused. All right, look, it doesn't matter.
Sirius XM's number 1 customer.
What is the right answer?
660,000 podcasts.
Wow, that many. How many are still active?
Those are the active ones.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's like, I think 1.7 million that are out there, but not being updated. But these are all the active ones.
Yeah, my answer was terrible. And I knew as soon as I wrote it was terrible. That's for me.
Lucky, where did you get that?
So like the
answer
person
from?
closest wins?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're
Well,
definitely
so
up
is you.
1-0.
I haven't won anything in so long.
Well, you were telling me that when you do that other morning show, they normally make fun of you. So I wanted to let you feel good about yourself.
Oh, thank you.
You got it,
Can
Shereem.
build up my ego.
Anything for Shereem Kassam. All right,
These headphones may not fit my headset.
question number 2, Brianna, for the Stump the Clarky. Monday night, go ahead.
Before it was called podcasting, it was called audio blogging. So what year did the first audio blog come out?
I went here, Shereem, with 2007.
Me too.
What did you have?
I did
wow.
2007 too.
That's
Perfect.
cool.
All
No,
right. So what is the right answer?
1982.
What?
Wait, what?
Look, people.
People knew how to do audio blogging back then?
Yeah, it was just.
I
It wasn't
thought
called
the
podcasting
internet
at
wasn't
the time.
invented yet.
Yeah, I think
But it wasn't streamed. That's
they-
the.
Oh, then what did you do with
difference.
it?
Did they do it via Atari?
You just did it for yourself at home?
I think so.
I wasn't even born yet. I didn't even know this existed.
Here, I'm going to give this goes to the actual question. That's for your question.
Better luck next time.
All right, we'll both take a point on that one. Go ahead. All right, question number 3. And Brianna, you get -1 point for that because we don't.
Inventing these rules as you go.
We don't necessarily agree with your question.
Well, fine then.
All right, go ahead. And it's 2 versus 1. All right, question number 3. Go ahead.
As of 2018, how many people profess to be avid podcast fans, meaning they listen to at least one podcast a day?
Shereem Kassam, what do you have?
I went with 195 million.
Whoa, that's a big number. You are a podcaster. I went with 18 million. I'm really low on these, I guess. Huh? Wow. What is the right answer?
That's a big difference. Oh, man. I might have done my math wrong.
That would be 16 million.
Oh, wow.
16 million.
So we go into question 4 tied.
Really? It's only 16 million?
It's 16
Let me check my math. I probably forgot to move the decimal point.
I feel like you were going in the right direction and then derailed somewhere. But that's okay.
Right,
this must just be in Florida, not the whole world.
The tiebreaker answer for Stump the Clarky on Behind the Law for a Monday night.
Here it comes.
Go ahead.
What is the projected ad revenue for podcasts in 2019?
Okay, I went with $2 billion.
Oh, I went with $2 million.
Oh, wow. Our answers are way off
Right,
today.
that's freaking
So
high.
I went with $2 billion. Ad revenue, I mean, ad revenues.
It's a big.
It's a big number, but all right, what is it?
It's 514 million.
514
mean, it's pretty
million.
high,
So that's definitely you. All right, you win today.
Look at that.
14 million. And I don't have a piece of that pie yet.
I know, we got to get you some of that pie.
You got to get me some of that
What's
pie.
We got to
on
get you
with
some of that.
Contact me at funnybrown.com, but I will give you a special rate if you give me the code word Justin Clark.
There you go. And then I get a cut.
Okay, folks, thank you so much
See,
for being
typical
with us.
lawyers.
Clarky, let's get out of here, buddy. My stomach thinks my throat's cut. I'm starving.
That's perfect.
Shereem Kassam. So how do you really monetize, and not necessarily you, just a podcast in general, how do you make money off of it?
There's many ways. Well, one is the sponsorship, so getting the running ads that come through your show. You can also do affiliate ads through your show, so sending people, like, there's all those, what's it called? Not Indeed, but like those hiring sites and LegalZoom and stuff, and you give them the affiliate code. And then yeah, and then you can go behind the wall, like Patreon and stuff, and charge people to hear your podcast, or charge them for like behind the scenes stuff. There's a lot of ways to monetize.
We have one final segment ahead of Behind the Law for a Monday night with Shereem Kassam, the beautiful Brianna's here. Allie Mack, we miss you today. Hope everything's going okay with you. If you've ever thought about being a stand-up comedian, podcast host, actor, you're going to want to stick around. We're going to ask Shereem all of those questions. One more segment. It's ESPN 580 Orlando.
Now back to Behind the Law with Justin Clark, right here on ESPN 580 Orlando.
Welcome back to the show. It's Behind the Law, ESPN 580 Orlando. Justin Clark spending evenings here with you, 8 o'clock p.m. on our favorite sports radio station. Brianna's to my right. Special guest joins us in the studio today, Shereem Kassam. You know her as a stand-up comic, probably more than anything. But do you have any shows coming up? What do you have coming up?
I do. Wednesday night, I'll be at the Orlando Improv in Point Orlando. It's at 8 o'clock on Wednesday, and if you want complimentary tickets, I can hook you up. Just call the Improv and tell them you're coming to see me, or give them the promo code KP10.
So you're going to give free tickets away tonight, huh?
For your listeners, I will do whatever I want
really,
to do.
really appreciate it.
That's not how I meant to say it. I'll do whatever you need me to do for your listeners. I haven't
careful.
eaten today. This whole fasting thing, man, it's killing me. Have you ever done intermittent fasting?
No. What is it? Talk to me about it.
Well, you're only supposed to
fast.
eat like 6 to 8 hours a day. And so usually I start at 12 and I only eat between 12 and 6. But I started at 7 today, so I already had to stop eating, and now I'm just hungry. And I keep eating my words now because I'm just like, I can't focus. I'm just like, you both look like French fries and burgers. Like, I just want to gobble you up.
Which one's the French fry? Which one's the burger? Am I the fry or am I the burger?
You're the burger.
Thank you, I think.
Oh, what?
But you can't eat like 4 pizzas during that 6 hours either, though, right?
No, you're supposed to like count your macronutrients and stuff. So like I have to log everything and then count my carbs and my fats, and it's just tiring. But I'm just hungry all the time.
Let me guess, you have an app for that.
Yes, I do have an app for that.
I figured you might. I figured you might.
And there's a podcast about it too.
I'm shocker, because there are 10 million of them, I think is what you said earlier during the game. All right, so the Improv we talked about briefly earlier, and that's where you will be on Wednesday. I mean, it is a pretty good room to be in Orlando, is it not? I mean, that's a pretty nice spot.
Oh, it's the best spot. If you get to perform on the Improv stage, you never say no. Like, that's the place you want to be. That's what you aspire to do in Orlando.
What other, you told me you performed earlier with Arsenio Hall. Any other people that we really know their names that you perform with, that you've actually been in that back room with, Have you ever watched Living Single back in the day on Fox with Queen Latifah? Yeah.
I opened for John Henton.
Okay.
Last year as well. I've worked with Carlos See, I'm so hungry. Oh my God. Carlos Mencia. I worked with him last year as well. Gary Goldman. I've not worked with Louis C.K., but I shared the same stage with him. Like, we were on a showcase together, and I went up, but then he went up, but I don't think he'd remember me.
Sure he would. Come on. Don't discount yourself. So I've always wondered, and a lot of us have been to stand-up comedy performances before, improv or wherever. I've always wondered, are you guys hanging out together back in the back, or what really is going on back there?
Yeah, there's a green room in the back, usually where all the comics hang out. There's usually water, and you can get your drinks back there. And then, you just hang out and shoot the blank beep. Oh my God, there's no synonym for that. Shoot the word.
There certainly was a lot of drugs in stand-up comedy throughout the years. Do you find that kind of going away, or do you still see a lot of it?
Oh, I don't know. I don't see any of that. I'm too good for that. And I'm not good at two shoes. Like you wouldn't, even if they were doing drugs, I wouldn't even know. I'd be like, oh, what's that white powdery substance? Is that baby powder? Give me some. My hands are sweaty.
Exactly.
I'm like the worst person to talk to about drugs. CBD is the far rightest thing I do.
That's as far as you're going to go with it, huh?
Yes, CBD is all I'll take.
You guys are doing coke, but I brought my CBD oils to rub on my palms.
Exactly.
Excellent.
And behind my ears.
I know. So you told me that you really love Chris Rock. I mean, Chris Rock is funny. Any other guys out there or gals that you really do watch? I mean, and this Netflix thing is booming. And there's so many stand-up performances that you can watch on Netflix now. It used to be hard. I mean, maybe if you had HBO, you could watch one person a month or something. But now there's so many of them. Any on Netflix right now you recommend us watching?
Mo Amer is really good. Mo Amer is a Palestinian comedian, but I think he grew up in Iran or Iraq. I think Iraq. He grew up in Iraq, but he was a Palestinian refugee, and he tells his whole story on stage. And it's just an amazing story because it doesn't get political at any point. I mean, he's the guy who ended up sitting next to Donald Trump's son on the plane, and that's kind of how his career erupted in a way, because then he went on Stephen Colbert and he talked about it. But his stand-up comedy is it's just a great way, and that's what I love about stand-up comedy. Some of these people really show you the world and their experiences in their life, and it's just like a history lesson, but it's funny.
How do you write your jokes, and when? Like, what time of the day do you actually write stuff down, and where do you write it?
Well, I pop my CBD, and then and then when I'm on my high, no, I'm just playing y'all. You don't get high from
Charlotte's
CBD.
Web.
I write it all. I just write. Like, I write anytime something funny happens. Like, I love just going somewhere and sitting at a cafe and listening to conversations, and then it just sparks something, and then just writing about it. Or I'll just write it on stage. Like, I'll know what I want to talk about, and then I'll just riff on it, and something will come out of it.
But do you actually type it down? So, I'm sorry. I do a lot of notes in my phone here. Mm-hmm. Are you one of these people who can just type stuff in your phone, or do you have to write it down on a piece of paper like this?
Yeah, I have a notebook. I have to write it in a notebook, because if I write it in my phone, then I just have a bunch of notes that say jokes on them, and I'm like, well, I don't know what all these are, and now I don't want to read my thoughts, because sometimes you read your thoughts. Have you ever gone back and read your thoughts or your journal, and you're just like,
it doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, it doesn't make any sense, and sometimes you're like, I should be checked into a mental institute.
Absolutely. And sometimes I wonder if someone were to get in my phone or something, and they read my notes, they're gonna be like, this guy has some serious mental problems.
Yes.
And
my boyfriend thinks I do.
But when I do write this stuff down, whether it's a business idea or whatever, I'll type it down in my notes. But then virtually every time I go back and look at it, I'm like, you are the biggest idiot I've ever seen in my life. So I don't know. Something about going from my brain to this digital thing, it doesn't seem to work that well for me.
Same way. I'm like, that was hilarious. And then I write it down, and I'm like, that wasn't that funny.
Yeah, exactly. How often do you feel like you have to get a new 5 minutes or new 10 minutes or new 15-minute set?
I try to get a new 5 minutes maybe every month or two, every 2 months at least, but like strong 5 minutes. I'm not talking, I think anybody can write a 5 minutes, but it's like a strong 5 minutes that you can submit to festivals and competitions, and that really people will know you by. I try to do that every 2 or 3 months.
What do you do when you feel like you're losing the room, or does that ever happen to you at all?
Oh yeah, all the time.
What do you do? How do you get out of that?
Usually I just change the material. Usually I lose the room the minute I say I'm Muslim. That's when I lose a good majority of the room. It's like, oh, I thought she was cool, and now she's Muslim, so now I don't want to listen to her.
Good people.
And so then I have to backtrack and be like, guess what? My boyfriend's white, and he's not Muslim. I'm one of you guys. Yay!
So he saves the day for you.
He does. I'm like, we wave our Confederate flag every morning.
Yeah, absolutely. It's Behind the Law, ESPN 580 Orlando. Justin Clark here with Brianna and talking to Shereem Kassam. So you've also done some acting.
I have.
Talk to me about that.
Yeah, I'm the face of the Florida Lotto. Well, not really the face, but if you watch a Florida Lotto commercial, you'll see me in it promoting Bright Futures scholarships. So if you want to go to college, hit me up. Not that I can help you, but I'll put you in touch with Justin. He can help you. I've done some short films. We just launched a short film called Courage to Stand by Ed Love, who's an Orlando producer and director, actually locally based, and he's doing some really good stuff. So I did his short film the other day, and just anywhere I can get acting, I'm just trying to really develop that skill, because at the end of the day, the goal is I don't want to be a traveling stand-up comedian. I want to be a stand-up comedian with my own sitcom.
Gotcha.
So-
What do you see in the immediate future over the next 2 years for Shereem Kassam?
I'm going to hopefully move to Atlanta in 2020. Fingers crossed that happens. And then hopefully from there, everything just takes off, because I feel like I've developed enough of a base at this point where I've worked on my acting, I've worked on my writing, I've worked on my comedy. Now I just need to go somewhere and have people see me.
Why Atlanta?
So Atlanta is the next biggest scene after LA, especially if you want to do acting. LA is kind of the scene that you go to if you're in your 20s and you're like fit and a vegan. And then Atlanta is where you go to once you hit your 30s and you're not fit and you like meat.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
And I love meat. So, and it has a really good comedy scene as well. And it's a very urban comedy scene too. And so it's just something that fits me better.
I just have never heard that about Atlanta. I didn't know that there were actors going to Atlanta to really.
Yeah, it's the
further their
second
career.
biggest scene now, because a lot of people are opening up studios in Atlanta, like Tyler Perry of Medea's family.
I have heard of that.
He has his studio there. Will Packer Studios is there, the one who made Girls Trip, and I think it's what a Woman Wants or something is called. So yeah, there's a lot of studios popping up in Atlanta now.
Oh, this is that deal where Florida wouldn't pass the tax cuts
Yes.
for movie studios,
Yes.
right? And then they even shoot a lot of movies based in Florida, but they shoot them in Georgia, I heard.
Yeah.
That's right.
I have heard about
Yeah,
this a little
so
bit.
Atlanta's booming if you want to get into acting but don't want to make the move
Yeah.
to LA, especially if you're diversity.
And if you have to drive, it's 6 hours.
Yeah.
You know, it's not too bad. I mean, you'd probably rather fly, but I mean, it's not
No,
that.
if I get an audition, I just drive.
Yeah.
Usually because it's like day of. You're just
Right.
like, oh, I gotta go. Be right back.
Exactly. One more time, tomorrow night, what do we have?
Wednesday night, Orlando Improv. Call the box office and tell them you're coming to see me, or give them the promo code KP10 and they should give you complimentary tickets.
And more information about Shereem Kassam, how do I find you?
FunnyBrownGirl.com or on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook at FunnyBrownGirl.
Excellent job today. Thanks for being in here.
No, thank you for having me.
If you ever have anything coming up, always feel free to come in. We'd love to see you again.
Okay, yeah, for sure.
Brianna loves you. She's been raving about you too.
Oh, yeah?
So I'm really happy I got to finally meet you. For the beautiful Brianna, Shereem Kassam, thank you for being here. Brianna, I don't know much, but I do know one little thing.
What's that?
I will see you right back here tomorrow night on ESPN 580 Orlando.